Hey everyone! Welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. My wife slept with men from a bar, claiming she deserved it for having a baby. So I gave her payback. I a 32-year-old male. We have a 7-month-old daughter. A couple of days back, I found something in her bag that blew my mind, a pack of condoms. I'm not the kind of guy who checks his wife's bag, but this time it was urgent. My wife was in the shower, and I needed a diaper to change our baby. I had put the baby on the changing table, and then I realized we had run short of one. I remembered my wife keeps a few diapers in her bag when she takes the baby for a walk. Her bag was lying near the baby counter, so it was easier for me to grab it. I opened it and found 2 diapers inside. While pulling one out, something fell from the bag to the floor, a pack of condoms. It was a pack of 3, the packet was open, and only one was left. I checked the bag to see if the remaining 2 had fallen inside, but they were not there. That meant 2 had already been used. My baby was crying profusely, so I kept a condom inside my pocket and changed her. When Janet came out of the shower, I put the baby in the crib, pulled out the condom from my pocket, and asked Janet about it. The actor in her came out, and she outright denied it. She said it wasn't hers and tried to gaslight the situation. Pinning it on me, I was shocked at how smoothly she could lie. I said I found it in her bag, but she replied, "But you just pulled it from your pocket, right?" I flipped out because she wasn't ready to accept it was hers. Then she burst out laughing and said, "Oh, poor you, look at your puppy face. I was messing with you." She winked as she said this. It was evident she was lying because we don't use protection. She's breastfeeding and her cycle hasn't returned. So we don't use protection. Now she dismissed me, saying her cycle was back to normal, so we might need protection if we didn't want more kids. I asked her what happened to the other 2 condoms. There was just one inside the packet, but it should have been 3. She laughed and said it was a funny story. Yesterday she bought it, then went out with friends. A guy was hitting on her friend Kyle, and things got heated up between them. They went to find a corner, but didn't have a condom, so she lent them 2. I gave her a look of disbelief and said, "Do you expect me to believe this?" She said yes, because that was the only truth. She even said I could call Kyle and ask for myself. I didn't call her because if Janet was lying, then Kyle was obviously on board and would lie too. So what was the point? I didn't call her but told Janet that I wasn't buying her crap, so she needed to come clean about whatever she had been up to. Now she's gaslighting me and trying to guilt trip me, saying I don't trust her. She's weeping, saying I don't understand her, and that she just delivered a baby and is going through postpartum depression. And amidst all this, I'm accusing her of cheating. I've not tried to make things up with her, I've left it that way, but she's made the environment murky. She's just curling up in bed in a dark room, refusing to switch on the lights, saying, "I'm not sure how she's when I'm not home. I'm the one who usually apologizes right after our fights, because you know hardly any woman breaks the ice and says sorry first. However, this time I just don't feel like apologizing at all. I don't think I did anything wrong by asking her up front about the condoms. Do you guys think I could have done anything differently? Seriously, if she's using postpartum depression as a get-out-of-jail-free card for handing out condoms like Halloween candy, maybe it's time for a different kind of delivery, a reality check." Though I have to admit her excuse game is stronger than her commitment to honesty. As for what you could have done differently, well, you could have packed your own emergency condom in the diaper bag. Who knows, maybe next time she'll pull out a clown nose and claim it's for stress relief. Update 1. Thank you for engaging with my post. You guys are right in saying she flashed the red flag right across my face. Yes, she did, and I didn't let it slide. Some of you asked for more information about Janet to comment on the situation. Well, Janet and I have known each other for over 6 years. We met at a friend's party. She was the most gorgeous woman there. We spent the evening together talking, dancing, and having fun, but I forgot to ask for her number. I'm not a party person, but it was my friend's promotion party, and he insisted I attend. I asked my friend about Janet, and he said he didn't know her either. She was his colleague's friend. I requested my friend to ask his colleagues for Janet's number. He was reluctant to do so because my friend was married and didn't want his colleagues to think he was hitting on Janet. After a lot of convincing, he got her number. I kept it for a week before texting her. I didn't know how she would take it. I didn't want to come across as desperate or cheap. I mean, she was gorgeous, and I'm sure there were many men at the party who wanted her number. Nonetheless, I mustered the courage and messaged her. Luckily, she replied that she regretted not asking for my number. From there on, we hit it off. She was working a part-time job. She said she didn't have a full-time job because it involved a lot of commitment, and she liked to live freely on her terms. That could have been a red flag, but I didn't think of it that way. I was deeply immersed in my work and was not enjoying it. I wanted to be free like her, so it kind of clicked for me. After dating for 2 years, I proposed to her, and we got married in a close ceremony with friends and family. Janet didn't want to spend money on a grand wedding. She wanted to use that money for a vacation instead. After the wedding, we went on a 15-day trip to Europe. 1.5 years after the marriage, Janet got pregnant. She freaked out because we didn't plan it that way. We wanted to travel the world together and do a bunch of stuff before having the baby. She wanted to get rid of it. I was not happy with her decision. I love kids and wanted one, but since she had different plans, I never forced her into pregnancy. But when she got pregnant unexpectedly, I tried to convince her to keep the baby. She was in two minds, but ultimately she kept it. Pregnancy is tough and cranky for women anyway, and since I was the one who convinced her to keep it, I had to face the brunt of it. I did everything to keep her happy, thankfully. Her pregnancy was without complications. Yet, she threw tantrums and I happily took it because it was her time. After the baby came, she became worse. I thought it was because of the lack of sleep and tiredness from nursing the baby. She got so depressed, feeling caged, that she couldn't have her former freedom. I took her to therapy and the doctor said it was postpartum depression, which was natural for all women post-delivery. I tried everything to give her the freedom she needed. I hired a full-time nanny so she could have free time to herself. Our daughter was 2 months old when Janet resumed her life of partying and going out with her friends as she used to before. I never stopped her because the doctor said a happy mom would nurture her baby. 7 months later, here we are. I found a condom in her bag, and she's throwing her best friend under the bus to save her pretty butt. Coming to the updates, as I mentioned earlier, Janet was trying to gaslight the situation, but I didn't give in. I told her if she thought she could put up an act and get away with her actions, then she was wrong. I'm not going to let this go until she tells me the truth because what she said earlier was pure BS. Since she wasn't opening up, I started digging on my own. I wanted to check her phone, but she's so guarded about it that I could never access it. Even when she would sleep, she has always been like that with her phone, so I never questioned her directly. Asking her to show her phone wasn't an option either. She would make a big fuss about how I was doubting her and blah blah. I don't know how else to get the evidence because this woman has no conscience, and she's not going to confess. Any suggestions are greatly welcomed. If Janet's guarding her phone like it's a state secret, you might need to channel your inner James Bond and get a bit creative. Maybe you could enlist the help of a distraction master, like I don't know, a baby with an insatiable curiosity for shiny objects. While Janet's busy wrangling the little one, you could sneakily swipe her phone and dive into the depths of her digital secrets. Or, hey, just have a heart to heart and ask her why she's making it so hard to trust her. Who knows? She might just surprise you and let you in on a few of those funny stories she's been hiding. Update 2. Thank you all for the insightful comments and suggestions. I've taken a step back to think about everything. It's clear that trust has become the foundation of our issues, and I need to address that without losing my mind over assumptions. I decided to have an open conversation with Janet, focusing on our feelings rather than accusations. I approached her gently, letting her know I felt hurt and confused about the condoms. I emphasized that it wasn't just about the condoms but about feeling betrayed and the impact it could have on our family. She listened, but the defensiveness was still there. Janet insisted it was just a prank, that she didn't mean anything by it. However, the lack of transparency still loomed over our conversation like a dark cloud. I pointed out that her actions, whether intended as a joke or not, made it difficult for me to trust her. In the end, I suggested couples therapy. At first, she hesitated, claiming it was unnecessary and that we could work things out on our own. But I pressed on, reminding her that we both needed to rebuild trust and communication. Surprisingly, she agreed. It was a small step. In the days that followed, I tried to keep the atmosphere light. I took over more responsibilities with the baby, encouraging her to take breaks and spend time with her friends, but always with a reminder that I wanted her to be happy and that I was in this together with her. As for the phone situation, I realized that invading her privacy wouldn't solve anything. Instead, I started focusing on rebuilding our connection. I made a point to be more present, watching movies together, sharing meals, and discussing our dreams for the future, not just about the past. Update 3. We had our first therapy session. It was a bit awkward at first, but our therapist encouraged us to open up. Janet spoke about her struggles with postpartum depression and how it affected her sense of self. I shared how I felt betrayed and how much trust meant to me. It was a good start, and I felt like we were both being heard. The therapist suggested we practice more active listening and empathy exercises. We are going to work on our communication skills together, which I believe will help mend our relationship. I still can't shake the feeling of doubt completely, but I'm trying to take things one step at a time. I've learned that healing isn't linear, and it's going to take effort from both sides. Final thoughts as we continue therapy. I'm hopeful. I know that trust isn't rebuilt overnight, but with patience and honesty, I believe we can get there. Janet may have made mistakes, but I hope this will lead us to a stronger foundation for our family. Thank you all for your support and advice. It means a lot as I navigate this challenging time. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.